All right, today I want to share with you a little bit about the volume profile, in specific, the dynamic one that I use when it comes to trading, whether it's the micro or the E-mini futures. Now, I'm using it on my charts every single day, 5 days a week. Now, there is a difference. I do have both the static and the dynamic volume profile, but I use the static when I am looking at my higher range chart. So you'll notice, like on my 120 or my 240 range chart, I'll have the static volume profile. On my entry chart, my 24 range, I'll use the dynamic one, which allows me, you'll see as I'm scrolling left to right, you'll see where it shifts, the volume does, according to, what the charts are looking at as far as the amount of data that's populated to the charts. And the reason for doing so, it helps me identify those high peaks and those low peaks within the market where volume lies at. I don't trade, when, say, specifically just allow the volume profile to give me the signal to get into a trade. I use it as a means of a tertiary indicator, where it's basically my last glance, or my last thing that I'll take a look at prior to getting to a trade. Market structure and price action, I'll say this, are everything. You have to understand which way to really trade based on what structure looks like on the market. If we have key areas of demand on a higher range chart, then you should be looking for a pullback to that area to possibly take an opportunity going long off of your lower range chart, okay? Or maybe your time-based charts if you're trading time charts. But for me, I'm trading range charts using supply and demand zones. Same thing if the market is moving to the downside, we have a beautiful area of supply, then I will look for the market to pull back to that key area of supply, and then on my lower range chart to actually go short. Again, I'll mark the zones up first, but as the market is retracing back to my actual zone, then that's when I kind of start looking into the volume profile, or use that tool, especially the dynamic volume profile, to kind of zoom in on that area on my lower range chart. All right, it doesn't matter if you're trading the micro or the full-on E-mini futures. This is how I go about doing it 5 days a week. And this is why I place so much trust in the volume profile, because you have to think about it. Without volume, the market is not moving. You have to have, volume and volatility in the market to be able to trade. You want setups. You got to look for clean opportunities. Now, how I personally trade, I using, top-down analysis, using a higher range chart to start with, to identify structure, to identify the direction in which I need to take my trades from. And then I'll move down and take my trades in that direction. So if the market's created a nice area of demand or supply on the higher range chart, I'll wait till the market to retrace back to those zones, okay, or to that area. I'll mark that zone up. And then I'll move down to my lower range chart to look for, the same thing. If it's a demand area on the higher range, then I'll look for demand formation or setup on the lower range chart to move in the direction with the higher range chart, and vice versa if it's supply. Okay. So, for example, if we notice, like, last couple of days, the market was making these runs to the upside, was making higher highs and higher lows to the upside. It's on a 120 range chart, and you see beautiful areas where the market's creating areas like demand, aggressive buying to the upside, okay, pulling back, that's a demand area, okay, breaking structure right here to the upside, creating a demand area, all right, pushing up here, pulling back, this is a low probability zone, so I wouldn't be interested in that, but still, making high, higher, low, breaking structure to the upside, creating breaking above that high there. It pulls back to that demand zone here, which was roughly around the closure of the market on the 23rd. Still, just showing you an example, valid area of demand. I'll mark it up. I'll move down to my lower base chart, my lower range chart, and then I'll look for opportunity or where there's a demand area in which I can take a trade going long. I've covered this strategy in lots of video content, especially if you are an elite or an ultra elite member, supporter of the channel, or if you choose to become one as well. Shout outs to all those who are, supporters of the channel, either an elite or an ultra elite. You guys already know all the video content where I go in to basically the cornerstone to how I trade, talking about, covering the trade breakdowns. That's where really the sauce and everything to how I trade is kind of unfolded, because it gives you a full-on insight and detailed information surrounding the trades that I take. These are the same trades that I post over in the Discord. I'll go a little bit more detail about that towards the end of the video. But what you need to get right is the direction of the market. And really, when it comes to the higher range chart, just really be able to determine if we have a area of demand on supply, and wait for the market to pull back to on your lower range chart, and then look for structure to be taken or broken to the upside. So if I was interested in trade in this area of demand right here, right? As the market broke above this high right here and broke structure. Not only did it broke above this high, a pullback, okay, and it came back up right here. It slightly broke above that area there. I would look for a pullback to this key area of I'm not trying to say demand right there, right? It broke above right here, pull back, key area of demand right here to take the market going back to the upside. Same thing here. But when I mark it up on my higher range chart, the 120, then I'll look for the market to pull as it's pulling back. I'll look for on my 24 range chart once it taps into the zone, either to see if there is a lower range, 24 range, demand zone resting on the inside of the larger 120 zone, or a newly formed or created demand zone that's created because I want to take one moving in the direction with the higher time frame or the higher range chart. So if it taps into the zone and there's not one on the inside, then I'll wait for the market to do what? Start breaking structure to the upside, look for a pullback to go long on the lower range chart in the direction with the higher range chart. So for example, I'll show you right here, using the volume profile, using the dynamic version of it. And, you have a couple options. The volume profile tool that I use, it's currently not offered because of, things that are going on with the overseas sanctions due to the war situation. And it hasn't been available for a few years. I bought it probably way more than 10 years ago. And it's still active. The servers are still running, but it's just, if you are, you bought it many years ago, whatever the case is, like I said, it's still active and you can still use it. All right. But you can't go purchase it today. But NinjaTrader offers a similar version of that as part of their one of their indicators they have built into their program. But I believe either you have to be leasing or own your license for sure to be able to use the order flow suite package, which includes the volume profile suite that they have. Now, again, it's similar to the one I use, but any particular volume profile that is compatible with NinjaTrader that you can import in, as long as you maybe have a dynamic or a static version of it, will work just as fine. But I'm going to show you how I use a dynamic volume profile. So let's say that we had this beautiful area of, you should be able to identify what's demand and what's supply. What is this right here? Aggressive buying. That's a beautiful area of demand right there, right? So I'll wait for the market to pull back to it. So that right there is a valid area of demand right here on the higher range chart. Again, I mark up my higher range charts first, right? Then you will look for, again, a zone to be created, a demand zone to be created on your lower range chart. So that line there, it's donate or donate, denoting or showing that, or letting you know that this is a area of demand. Aggressive buying here, pulls back on this candle to the demand zone right there. Just move down to your lower range chart. I'm going to show you on the lower range chart, my 24 range, what I'm looking for from that point. So when the market pulls back, okay, here it is right here. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna do this right quick. We'll draw up that demand zone so you can understand and see it right here. This is demand. We'll put it on all charts so it'll show up on the 24 range right quick. And you'll see it pop up when I go back to the 24 range. Okay, here we go. The market pulls back to the zone, right? Once it taps into the zone on the 24 range chart now, look for a structure to be broken to the upside and a pullback to a key area of demand to actually, go long. Like right here. This would have been, it pulls back, we break structure above this high right here. There was a demand zone resting right here. Okay, so a demand, actually there's two. And there's one right here as well. Okay. That's an area of demand. It pulls back to the 120 range higher range chart first. Then it breaks structure, pushing to the upside on your 24 range above these highs here. Pulls back. There's an imbalance resting back at the zone. Okay, you can take a trade going long to take out that low right there. That high right there. All right. Then the market breaks structure, pushing back to the upside again above this high right here. This would be a pullback to a key area of demand right here. Aggressive buying. 24 range, lower entry chart, look for it to pull back and go long to aim for the high to be taken out right there. Now, when it comes to the volume profile and where, it kind of helps me, it gives me a general idea or location where to be looking for, take a trade out. Well, you do have a demand zone right here, right? Okay. But this is low probability because that candle there, it did not leave an imbalance resting back at the zone. So when it comes back down to this zone, this is more of an opportunity to take trades from, right? I don't need the volume profile to enter, but it gives me some guidance, more so like a GPS, where to kind of look for my opportunities, my trades. So let's just kind of run both of these. I'm going to show you a dynamic version of this using the range profile. Okay, that's how I draw up my dynamic volume profiles. I'll mark up both zones here. This zone here and this zone here. If you look when the market broke structure right here to the upside first time, it came back. Look where it taps into, a high volume area. Matter of fact, let's focus just on this area here first. You see this right here? Pushes up. It comes right back down to basically the POC, which is at that demand area using this dynamic volume range profile too, right? So I'm looking for, I can take a trade going long there. This gives me more confluence to want to get into a trade to go long and look for the market to take out that area of this high right here, okay? So that's one example. We'll take this and we will run this back up to, let's see if I can grab this, to that high there and go to the next swing area where the next demand zone was created at, okay? So we have a push up, pull back, another breaker structure to the upside. It continues running to the upside here. Look where it comes back to, we're tracing back to a POC area, okay? Right down here is a high volume area, but I don't like to take my trades directly at a high volume area. If it is a nice area where demand rests at and there's nothing, really below it, I'll take it if it's smacking into like a high volume area on the volume range profile too, using this dynamic version of it. But look, here is showing that we're below a high volume area at this sweet spot, which is a high probability demand zone on the 24 range chart, and we're moving in the direction with that demand off the higher range chart. I'm going to go long here. This gives me more confluence in this area right here. Definitely does so. So high probability demand zone, moving in the direction of the higher range chart, and we have the market pull back to this key area, high volume, right in the low volume area of it. What's the reasoning behind trading in a low volume area where you have more confluence at, especially a zone, okay, or a level? Is because the market acts like a magnet where once it gets into a low volume area, it's going to want to react and move back to its mean up to a high volume area. Those high volume nodes, those high volume areas are act as a means of, not say support, but security for the market in a sense, okay? A safe haven or safety net area, okay? So that's why I like to take my trades going long at a low volume area below a high volume area where there's actually a level at like supply or demand. In this case here, this is actually demand. So I wanted to show you that using the dynamic version of the volume profile, how powerful it can use if you add it into your actual trading. Do you need it? No, you don't. It just gives you more guidance, kind of gives me more of a GPS location area where, okay, I feel comfortable at taking a trade here. It's at a low volume area. We are right on the outside of a high volume area, the outer edge of it. If you watch my videos, I always talk about like the outer edge, top or bottom. If you're buying, you want to buy the bottom edge of a high volume area. If you're selling, then you want to be selling the top edge of a high volume area, the actual low points, okay? And this is how I use the volume profile 5 days a week in my own personal trading. Whether you're trading the micros or the E-mini futures, it's a great indicator to use, all right? You do not have to overdo it when it comes to loading your chart with a bunch of indicators. The more you do so, the more they're going to look cluttered. It's going to slow you down from getting into solid entry points, and you're going to be letting your trades. I'm going to say that now. Now, getting back to what I was talking about becoming an elite or an ultra elite member, both tiers or supporter membership levels give you the opportunity, give you multiple perks and rewards. If you choose to become an elite supporter of the channel, you receive my trade breakdown videos, which there's tons of them there, the video playlist, a link of series by series of video content that it covers the important concepts, the important things when it surrounds my personal means of how I personally trade using the strategy I do, as well as the great video covering market structure who anyone out there that's struggling with that concept. Now, if you choose to step it up and become an ultra elite member, you receive everything I just mentioned, plus my live recorded trading sessions and the market recap videos, okay? Lots and lots of video content there that should help you and aid you in your own trading. And I want to say thank you to everyone out there that supports the channel and becoming either an elite or an ultra elite member. Now, if you want to become one of those supporters and gain access to all that private community data, or I should say data, video content that should help you in your personal trading. I can't guarantee anything to anyone because I'm going to tell you now, people's perspective and how they actually read the market and what they're looking at could be, misconstrued, indifferent. There's really only one solid way to actual trade, and that's understanding structure and understanding price action, okay? You don't need anything else. That's why I kind of make things simple as possible. I don't try to make it complex, and even the strategy and how I trade and discussion in that video content and becoming an elite or an ultra elite member is covered within it. It's a very simple concept, all right, or strategy I use. So if you want to become either an elite or an ultra elite, the link is down in the description portion of the video. Right below the Discord link, you'll see a link that says Ultra Elite Supporter. Click on that. Give it a couple seconds. 3 tiers will pop up. Choose either to become an elite or an ultra elite. When you click on each one of the tiers, it tells you what you receive by joining either one of those tiers, okay? If you want to join the Discord, it's free. It's the first link in the description portion of the video. Click on that. You can join us over on the trading floor each and every day where we come together as a community and we share our trades, okay? And again, like I do, I go back and I break mine down for those that are elite supporters or higher, all right? Outside of that, guys, that's all I have. If you have not taken the time to go ahead and subscribe while you are watching this video content, okay, well, shame on you. No, I'm just joking. But anyways, make sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking the sub button down below. Also, make sure to turn your post notifications on by clicking that bell as soon as you hit the subscribe button, and go ahead and drop me a like. Click on the thumbs up if you greatly appreciate the video content that I make it and you found value in it and it's been helping you in your own personal trading. Take care, everyone. Have a fabulous weekend. I'll see you in the next one.